welcome to the Soma Breath podcast. So this is actually a very, very favorite and intriguing subject for myself. The idea that we can change. That's right. That we are not the victim of our own genetics and environment, that we can actually change from within. And by changing within, we can actually make some big dramatic shifts in our outer world as well. Now we're going to talk about the Neuro Circuits and the 8-circuit model of consciousness. So the first 4 Neuro Circuits, these are, imagine, layers of your operating system, your mind. And this is Timothy Leary's work, which Robert Anton Wilson related to the yogic chakra system. So understanding Neuro Circuits, you can really understand your nature and how you became you. So the first 2 Neuro Circuits are hardwired genetic imprints. These are programs instilled in your DNA, passed down from ancestral origin. And these are instinctive behaviors that deal with your survival at all costs. These are formed from the moment you are born. This is your relationship with your parents and the first years of your life till you start to crawl or walk and interact with other humans. Neuro Circuits 3 and 4 are learned imprints that occur when you interact with friends, start to go to school and get bombarded with information from things like TV, commercials, and the internet. So these imprints dictate what habits, actions, and decisions you take to form the filter with which you see the world. So what we call this circuit model of human consciousness is a neurosomatic circuit model of human consciousness. And this is what makes us do what we do. Now I've refined this a little bit further and made it more simple to understand. So I'm going to break down the 7 core neurosomatic circuits that comes from Timothy Leary's work as well as Robert Anton Wilson and relates to the Indian chakra system. So the root chakra also relates to the survival circuit, which is the first circuit. And this circuit, which is actually your inner brain, the reptilian brain, the most deepest layers of your unconscious mind, and it goes from your brainstem all the way down into your root chakra. This deals with your survival and reproduction at all costs. And this can lead to fear, phobias, anxieties, laziness, and overwork. This is the reptilian brain. So making this your friend can give you the opposite of fear. It can eradicate phobias and anxieties. It can actually make you work efficiently and stop you from procrastinating and being lazy. This is what we're going to help you do through Soma Breath. And this actually, the survival circuit, is imprinted the moment you are in your womb and then born, and the first breath you take. Actually, the first breath you take, you gasp. You take a breath in, and you don't know even how to breathe. You don't know how to exhale because you've been so used to breathing through an umbilical cord that the doctor slaps you. And this can actually be the first traumatic imprinting of all, when you get slapped and then you start to breathe in a rhythm for the first time. And then there is a moment here where trauma can occur again, because the first imprinting between the mother and child occurs here. And if this is traumatic, if the baby is rushed away, maybe the mother's life is in danger or risk, and there's a separation that happens here, or in some cases, in other parts of the world, unfortunately, serious traumas happen all the time where the woman gives birth and the baby's taken away immediately from them. This can lead to a lot of traumas that creates an over-exaggerated sense of fear to your environment. In the second circuit, let's talk about the first circuit again. There's another one that's very important. The next imprinting that occurs in the survival circuit is when you are breastfed for the first time and you are suckling the nipple. Now, if there's any traumatic interference with this circuit and imprint at this stage, then what can happen is, because that suckling is so comforting, it's a source of comforting. You're getting food, and that food is instantly satisfying that reptilian drive for survival, giving you nutrition, giving you food. But if you're not breastfed properly, if there is a traumatic imprinting there, then what it can lead to actually is a negative imprinting later on in life, where you form habits like smoking, even sucking your thumb, even nail biting, where you're actually sucking on something. It's that suckling response that creates comfort. And cigarettes are almost like sucking on a nipple. if you think about it. And they give a lot of people comfort because perhaps there was some interference that happened during that first phase of breastfeeding. One of our Soma instructors does a lot of work in the early survival circuits, Sharon King, and she's got a book called Matrix Reimprinting, which it's highly worth checking out. So if you want to learn more about that, reach out to Sharon King in our community. So the second circuit is called the Emotional Territorial Circuit. And this deals with your status and significance. This is when you actually get up and start crawling around, or even become upright and start interacting with other toddlers and other humans in your environment. This is when you start to actually instinctively start sizing yourself up against other people. And it can actually lead to bullying or submissive personalities. So say you had an older sibling who was very bullying, then it can actually turn you into a bully later on. Or it could make you, if it was very traumatic, it could make you extremely submissive. Same thing if you had a very dominant father figure. That father-child relationship there can actually lead to also either bullying or submissive personalities later on in life. And now we're into the areas of the mammalian brain, and the limbic system and layers of the neurocortex beyond that. But really we're talking about like the limbic system here. And this is actually where you start to form emotions like guilt, jealousy, envy. In the first circuit, we form things like fear of survival, fear of not being able to reproduce. The second circuit is stuff like jealousy, guilt, shame, dominance, being dominating or submissive, alpha personalities, beta personalities. And this deals a lot with your status and significance. The third circuit, I call the language circuit, the communication, and this is really like the ego, where the ego gets formed, the default mode network. This gets imprinted by your parents, your school, your government, your educational system, information, religion, culture. And when this is off balance, it can lead to stupidity, dogma, fanatical ideologies, literally worrying about everything, getting stuck in the rat race, doing things you don't want to do, doing more of what you hate than what you love. And this is, as I said, this is your default mode network. This forms your reality tunnel and is really now in the realms of your human brain, the neocortex. Then we have other circuits. We have the fourth circuit. This is the fourth circuit of the more robotic part of who you are. And we have the social moral circuit. This gives you the ability to connect and have empathy for others. But it can also lead to sociopathic tendencies, inability to make friends and connect. This is actually starts to form as we go into puberty and start to become an adult. You produce different hormones that create certain sexual desires and tendencies based on your interactions, environments. It can give you addictions to things like porn and decondition you out of actual normal relationships, and weird deviant sexual fantasies can occur around here as well. It can also actually lead to psychopathic and sociopathic tendencies, and a lot of your sexual drive can change your social moral understanding of the world as well.